The Young and the Restless scoop for Thursday, September 25th, reveals Kane Ashby will turn down Victor Newman's offer. Also coming up, Sally Spectra will give Billy Abbott an ultimatum. Plus, Michael Baldwin will explain to Lauren Fenmore why he took the job with Kane. And Jack Abbott's plan will stun Diane Jenkins and Kyle Abbott. Why in our spoilers tease, Billy will continue to plead with Sally. I screwed up, but I know where I went wrong. I know that we can figure this out together. So, Sally will tell him he still hasn't mentioned Chancellor. Does he still want it back, or has he finally given it up? Billy say he's having a hard time understanding how him moving forward with Chancellor would affect their relationship. Sally will say she can't compete with his obsession and doesn't want to. He'll say he can't believe it's come to this. Billy, you had your own company in your hands, she'll reply. But the only thing you can think about your mother, who doesn't believe in you. However, he'll tell Sally he's not going to apologize for wanting to take back something that's rightfully his. She'll say they could have been living their dream, but his obsession derailed it all. I would hate to believe that a company means more to you than me, Sally will add. So now's your chance, Billy, me, or Chancellor. Billy will say besides his kids, she's the most important thing in his life. I choose you, Sally, if you'll have me. Then he'll tell Sally he loves her. I love you too, she'll reply. Meanwhile, Michael will tell Lauren that Kane offered him a job. I will be a problem solver. Lauren will get angry. You're gonna be his fixer? She'll ask incredulously. Lauren will say he told her he turned down the job he mentioned to her when she was out of town. If I hadn't forced your hand, you wouldn't have told me the truth. Michael will say the less she knows, the better. Kane poses a real threat to friends and family. He'll say he took the job because he's the only one who can de-escalate it. There's no way in hell I'm just going to stand by, Michael will add. If I'm on the inside, I will be able to find out the specifics and sabotage them before anyone gets hurt. Lauren will say she doesn't like it, but she appreciates him being honest. At the Abbott estate, Jack, Diane, and Kyle will discuss Billy's obsession with Chancellor. Then there'll be more boring talk about how to beat Kane. Kyle will say he's going to call the head of Jabot Technology to ask him to shore everything up. Then Jack will say he's going to do the one thing he never thought he'd ever do. Diane will ask what? Join forces with the mustache to take Kane Ashby down, he'll reply. But Diane and Kyle will push back. Why would you take a risk like this? Diane will ask. Speaking of the mustache, he'll drop by Kane's choo-choo train. Victor will tell him he doesn't like to be kept waiting. He wants to attack Jabot tomorrow. When Kane says he still needs to think about it, Victor will say the deal ends the moments he steps off his train. He'll remind him of how he came into his fortune and how he can spread it far and wide on Newman Media. Kane will say if he does that, it'll drive a wedge even deeper between he and his kids. But Victor will tell him if he goes along with the plan, he can keep his company and add Jabot to it. I want to crush Jack Abbott, and you are the means to do that. Kane will tell him he needs more. I want Newman Media to tell the truth about my father. He repented. He turned his life around, he'll add. If my children know about my father's kindness, maybe it'll earn me back their respect. Finally, Victor will say he'll consider it, but he's not making any promises. Michael will show up, and Victor will berate him for betraying him and working with the highest bidder. He'll ask Kane again if he's in or out. My answer is no, he'll reply. But will Kane soon regret his decision? Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Kane turned the train around right on the tracks when he suddenly got flirty with Phyllis the other day. And on the heels of Lily's latest rejection, Young and Restless fans began to wonder if the soap writers were laying the groundwork for Fane. Now, you may be among the considerable number of viewers repelled by this idea, but we can think of several solid reasons why it needs to happen. Kane's single-minded pursuit of his ex-wife Lily is giving creepy as opposed to charming at this point, and is getting a little monotonous. It's time to humanize this guy and liven up that stodgy old train set with some Chesterfield rugby. Lily's rebuffed him too many times for him not to turn his attention elsewhere, at least temporarily. Even in the last years of their marriage, Ashby dallied with Tracy and Victoria, both of whom he shared kisses with, and had an affair kid with Juliet. Making him out to be a saint is not believable, and, frankly, it's boring. Speaking of boring, Young and Restless is a soap opera desperately in need of soap. Fans have been rooting for Claire to get with Holden despite being in a relationship with Kyle, because they want to feel something. They want the pot stirred. They're lapping for a sexy scandal amid the repetitive and all-consuming business barrage to make this seem like a daytime drama again. Kane and Phyllis sharing chemistry, being in such close proximity, and walking the line between love and hate, perfectly sets the scene for Young and Restless to bring sexy back. Phyllis, one of the most sexual characters in Genoa City, hasn't shaken the sheets since the Grand Phoenix set was still around. This should be labeled a crime. Sandra Nelson's Phyllis had her dominatrix era, Gina Tognoni's Phyllis had a thing for elevators and stairs, and Michelle Stafford's Phyllis has had too many risque sexual romps to remember. There was the dumpster dive with Deacon, the infamous shower scene with Nick, not to mention their initial romp in the hay. There's simply no way that Phyllis wouldn't capitalize on her considerable chemistry with Kane, whatever her motivations. If you're a lean fan, you probably hate and loathe the idea of Fane, but consider this. Discovering that her ex-husband is doing the bedroom rodeo with another woman might just be the impetus Lily needs to unearth those buried feelings we all just know she's fighting. The Young and the Restless recap for Wednesday, September 24th, reveals that Billy Abbott will ask Sally Spectra's forgiveness, while Michael Baldwin confesses at least part of the story to Lauren Fenmore Baldwin. At the Jazz Lounge, Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott will break up the fight between Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles, so Audra will mock Kyle since Daddy always comes to his rescue. After Jack drags Kyle off to sober up with coffee, Diane will clash with Audra in her son's place. Audra will take jabs about Diane's twisted past, but Diane will act like Audra is just lashing out because she'll never have Kyle the way she wants him. Once Diane joins Kyle and Jack, they'll all discuss Wildcard Billy now that he's declared war on Kane Ashby. Sally will overhear and have questions now that Billy has shifted gears again. In the park on Wednesday's Y&R episode, Billy will bark at his private investigator over the phone to work harder to dig up dirt on Kane. Afterward, Billy will call Sally and ask her to meet him, so Sally will mull over whether she should hear him out. Audra will remind Sally of their earlier conversation and basically suggest that they have to stop letting problematic men run their lives. Even so, Sally will show up at the park overlook, where Billy will acknowledge that he knows Sally told Jack and Diane about the AI software plot. Billy will admit to feeling betrayed at first, but now he'll see he's the one who betrayed Sally by derailing all their plans. However, Billy will make it clear that he's seen the light about Kane and that everything has changed. Sally will be skeptical, but Billy will stand his ground and wonder if she can forgive him. Sally won't be sure she can, since she blew up her whole life and a career she loved for Billy. It'll leave Sally angry with herself and uncertain of whether she can move forward with Billy when he doesn't understand that he's the problem. Sally will feel like Billy's trading one obsession for another, now that he's determined to get revenge on Kane. Nevertheless, Billy will reiterate that things are different now and will suggest that he can rectify the situation. Since Billy will see light at the end of the tunnel, he'll want a chance to lead Sally to it. Back with Jack, Diane, and Kyle, they'll discuss how they need to strike first against Kane and be smart about it. That means reining in Billy before this whole thing blows wide open, and they all pay the price. At Society, Michael will bring Lauren in for their private romantic dinner. Lauren will wonder if this evening involves good news or bad, but Michael will act like he just wants to show her how special she is. However, Lauren will hurl questions at Michael about where he was before this dinner and whether he's working for Victor Newman. Michael will insist Victor isn't luring him away to anything, so Lauren will really hope that's true. If Michael's lying and keeping secrets from her, Lauren will warn that it'll be unforgivable and there'll be no coming back from it. Michael will be relieved when Fenmore Fen Baldwin briefly interrupts with a surprise phone call, but it won't get him off the hook for long. Lauren will give Michael one last chance to come clean, so he'll admit Kane is attempting to destroy Genoa City, and will add that he might be the only one who's able to stop him. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some big threats will rise up against Kane soon, so stay tuned for updates on all the curveballs. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of September 29th, October 3rd reveal that Sharon Newman and Nick Newman will prepare for a doomed trip, while Claire Newman and Kyle Abbott may be headed for their worst blow-up yet. For starters, Claire will continue to find reasons to pull away from Kyle, especially since he always seems to land in Audra Charles' orbit. Since Claire is tempted to pursue more romantic experiences, that'll leave her drawn to Holden Novak and the flirty new future he represents. Claire may have a major fight with Kyle that gives her another giant push in Holden's direction. Victoria Newman will worry about Holden being a player who could hurt Claire in the end. Nate Hastings may admit there are good reasons to be concerned about Holden, considering his shady history with Audra. Victoria will hear some alarm bells going off and may think Claire will regret it if she throws away her relationship with Kyle. Nevertheless, Claire may not be able to get Holden out of her head anytime soon. We know both Claire and Victoria will wind up in Los Angeles at some point, so Claire may decide to tag along with Holden after all as long as her mom goes too. Then again, maybe Victoria could chase after Claire and Holden with growing fears. Next, Victor Newman and Jack Abbott's risky alliance could bring some concerns for Nikki Newman and Diane Jenkins Abbott, but they may agree it's better than having their husbands at odds. However, Jack and Victor's efforts to take down Kane Ashby could lead to trouble if they turn against each other down the road, and Y&R spoilers hint that will. In the meantime, Billy Abbott may march to the beat of his own vengeful drum and set himself up for more problems as a result. Kane will have to fight off multiple attacks in the coming episodes, but he'll presumably plan to strike back. As for Tessa Porter and Daniel Romalotti Jr., their investigation into Mariah Copeland's crime will lead to some surprises at the hotel. Mariah put a pillow over that stranger's face for a smothering attempt, so there may be some clues to help Daniel and Tessa put the puzzle piece together. Could Tessa and Daniel cross a passionate line while they dig for answers? Over with Sharon and Nick, they'll get ready for their upcoming Los Angeles trip. Nick and Sharon are going to meet up with Noah Newman in October since he's got a project developer meeting in LA. Unfortunately, that meeting may not be what it seems. Noah thinks there's some interest in opening another club branch, but all signs point to this being a dangerous trap instead. The Young and the Restless spoilers say there'll be some upcoming drama featuring Roger Howarth's character, Sienna Bacall, and Detective Burrow, so stay tuned for updates on all the shocking Noah news. Sometimes it's nice to know there's still plenty of goodness in the world. That's something the Young and the Restless Kate Linder proves time and again when she hosts fundraising fan events with her Genoa City pals. Her teas bring the stars and the viewers together to raise money for charities. And while they often stick to the West Coast and Canada, this time around, Linder's bringing her pals out east for their first ever charity tea in South Florida to raise money for Camp Dream. Linder, of course, will be co-hosting the event with Christian Jules LeBlanc, and they're bringing along Brighton James, Cameron Grimes, and Haley Aaron. And it's not just an afternoon of tea and tasty bites, as the actors will also host a silent auction, a cast Q&A, and a live auction of Young and Restless memorabilia, which includes a tour of the show's sets, guided by Linder herself. Plus, you'll have plenty of opportunities to get autographs, photos, and official Young and Restless merch. And with everyone involved volunteering their time, you're truly supporting a great cause. The money raised is going straight to Camp Dream, which provides a traditional summer camp experience for children and young adults with special needs and moderate to severe disabilities. No child has ever been turned away because of the severity of their condition or their financial situation. Whether you live in and around Florida or want to take a little vacation to check it out, it's all going down on Sunday, December 7th in Benvenuto, Florida. And who couldn't use a little winter warming with a trip to Florida in December? You can pick up tickets for the charity tea at Camp Dream's event page here. Not only could you meet some Young and Restless greats, There couldn't be a better cause to support than the Canada Cares program. And is there anything better than helping out folks living with disabilities and their families and caregivers? We didn't think so. Sally and Audra could give Genoa City's business district a dose of girl power. Sally and Audra are unemployed on The Young and the Restless. Between Audra losing funding for Vibrante and Sally's career at Abbott Communications a no-go, it's been tough for the businesswomen. But the two could team up to create a new venture, a decision that has pros and cons. Sally and Audra have won fans over with their friendship. They're both alike since they're determined entrepreneurs who've suffered bad luck and heartache throughout their lives. Despite their latest setbacks, they're not letting anything hold them down. They're ready to embark on their next venture together. Genoa City's businesses are usually male-dominated, so it'll be good to see the women back in the game. With two smart and innovative women like Sally and Audra, they'll have what it takes to battle Victor, Kane, and Jack. While it'll be exciting to see Sally and Audra team up, there's one issue, and that is if Audra can be trusted. Although Audra is a good friend to Sally, she has a history of double-crossing people she cares about. First, there was her former love and boss, Tucker. Then, most recently, she left Nate heartbroken when he learned of her and Victor's scheme against Kyle and Claire. Audra isn't afraid to play dirty and hurt others to get what she wants. Her and Sally's business might start out great at first, but before long, power plays will be in motion. Sally and Audra will be butting heads over the company, which will lead to Audra's next scheme. Jack makes demands of himself. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, September 25th. Point to Victor telling Kane he'd better do what Victor says, or else, while Billy says more or less the same thing to Sally. Only he explains why he's the good guy for doing it. Victor made it clear to Kane that if Kane didn't give Victor his secret weapon, Victor would tell the world that Kane's dad had seeded Kane's empire by tricking a French widow into leaving him all her fortune. Kane nodded and said he'd think about it. That's not good enough for Victor. He needs an answer now. Kane needs to obey Victor now. Kane needs to admit that Victor is the greatest negotiator who ever lived now. Victor has been saying this for days, possibly weeks, so Victor says it again. But this time, he totes means it. He'll even throw in a bonus, but not because Kane might not yield to him, because Victor is a great guy. Sally has told Billy in every possible way that she can think of that she thinks he's going down a dangerous path, and she doesn't want to join him. Thanks for asking. Billy isn't sure what she's trying to tell him. Is she trying to tell him that she supports him and wants to be a part of all his future plans? Is she trying to tell him that he's so much smarter than Adam and Nick? Oh, and better in bed too? Billy is giving Sally one more chance to tell him either of those things, or he might start to think she doesn't believe in him. Does she know what happened when Victoria stopped believing in him? Does she really want that to happen to her? And while Victor and Billy are trying to force the world to spin in their direction, Jack is going his own way. He has a plan that doesn't require bullying other people over to his side. How refreshing! Sally's refusal forces Billy to confront the truth. His greatest enemy isn't Kane, it's himself. In the September 24th episode of The Young and the Restless, Billy faced a reckoning when Sally refused to accept his pleas for forgiveness. Her firm rejection underscored a deeper truth. Billy's pattern of obsession and self-sabotage continues to consume him, leaving him unable to build the future he claims to want. Billy admitted his secret dealings with Kane and acknowledged that Sally had been right all along. He recognized the damage he had caused and begged for a chance to rebuild their relationship. Yet even in his apology, Billy couldn't escape the mindset that destroyed them. He shifted blame toward Kane and clung to the belief that his scheme could still be salvaged, showing Sally that his fixation was far from over. Sally's response was measured but final. She reminded Billy of the lies and manipulation that cost her both her career and her trust in him. For her, his apology was hollow, another promise from a man more invested in his vendettas than in her well-being. Sally's refusal was more than anger. It was clarity. She would not allow herself to be collateral damage in Billy's endless battles. Sally's stand leaves Billy more isolated than ever. Without her partnership, Abbott Communications loses its anchor, and his credibility within the family weakens further. More critically, Her rejection revealed how deeply entrenched Billy is in his own destructive cycle. He insists on fighting Kane, even as that fight continues to strip him of allies, trust, and stability. In walking away, Sally exposed the truth Billy cannot escape. His downfall isn't coming from outside forces. It's coming from within. Find out more about how this storyline plays out in our weekly Y&R spoilers for September 22 to 26. Does she want to stick it to Kyle? Or does she want him all to herself? Diane clocked Audra on Wednesday's episode of The Young and the Restless. She claims the siren wants Kyle all to herself. Does she have a point? Kyle isn't the only one who's spiraling these days. Audra has been spiraling as well. She just hides it well until she's ready to erupt. That happened when the two crossed paths at the lounge. Kyle wanted to get drunk after his run-in with Claire, who wants nothing to do with him. There's nothing that Audra loves more than to watch Kyle drown his sorrows. She had to throw a few digs at him. The two exchanged words until Diane and Jack reigned in their sun. Audra claimed that she enjoys watching Kyle crumble. She believes that a Nepo baby like him deserves to suffer. Diane doesn't believe that. She believes Audra wants Kyle all to herself, and the reason she's making a big deal about this is that she'll never have him. Diane could have a point. Audra and Kyle did have a steamy affair at one point when he was married to Summer, but that ended when he exposed her scheming deals with Victor. He continued the affair to pretend to be charmed by her. Then, he ended things to protect Claire, whom he fell in love with. Audra could be jealous of Kyle choosing Claire over her because she wanted to keep their affair going. Maybe some part of her still wants Kyle. However, she feels jilted, so she's holding on to that anger for as long as she can. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that a complete character overhaul is desperately needed for the immature and non-committal Billy Abbott. It's about time for the child man that is Billy Abbott to grow up into a responsible grown man, instead of being such a dumpster fire train wreck. There have been moments in the past when it genuinely appeared that Billy was on the verge of growing up and getting his life in order. Sadly, Billy consistently falls back into the pattern of being a self-centered failure with misguided ambitions. He shows no concern for the chaos he creates as long as he pursues his desires. This might be acceptable if Billy had ever achieved something significant, but when was the last time he experienced a true success? In every possible way, Billy embodies the definition of a loser. In the episode of Y&R that aired on September 18th, Kane Ashby decided to cancel their agreement because he considers Billy to be too unpredictable. It's hard to fault Kane for this perspective, as Billy truly embodies that unpredictability. Nevertheless, even if Kane had delivered the AI software as he intended, Billy's plan to intimidate Victor Newman with it was destined to fail. In what reality would Victor ever feel threatened by Billy and his threats? Billy is known for taking bold risks that consistently lead to failure. Viewers are left to witness Billy leap from one absurd venture to another, with nothing to show for his efforts. Currently, it seemed that Billy and Sally Spectra's relationship is also on the verge of collapse, leaving him unable to maintain any happiness in his personal life. Billy's self-absorbed nature prevents him from treating Sally well, making her better off without him. This could be an opportune moment for the show to reset Billy's character and implement some meaningful changes. Instead of behaving like a mature adult who has learned from his numerous mistakes, Billy often comes across as an impulsive teenager still in need of guidance. Is it time for Billy to finally mature and choose a more positive direction? Do you believe it's feasible for him to let go of his grudges and grow up? The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates reveal from September 22 to October 10th, a mystery involving Noah Newman will unfold. Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will take rescue steps, as Kane Ashby's foes will also emerge. So let's discuss what to expect on the CBS soap. The week of September 22 to 26 will mark a turning point for Billy Abbott as he plans taking down Kane and seeks help from Jack Abbott to achieve this. Even though Sally Spectra worries about Billy losing control, he will pressure her to make a decision. Billy might urge Sally to accept his true self and his vengeful nature, or their relationship may not survive. Meanwhile, Kyle Abbott will be furious after being provoked by Audra Charles. Kyle really needs to learn to walk away and steer clear of Audra's drama. But he will let her get under his skin once more. Regarding Claire Newman, she is considering an adventure in Los Angeles with Holden Novak, since he will invite her to go there together. Lauren Fenmore Baldwin might uncover the truth from Michael Baldwin about his deal with Victor Newman. Will tell Kane, putting an end to everything. Kane will indeed put an end to an alliance soon, which could involve Michael if Lauren reveals his traitor status to secure his freedom. Even though Victor will present Kane with a very appealing offer, it might be unrealistic for these two to actually reach an agreement. Victor appears ready to make peace with Jack instead, and create a joint strategy to take down Kane, but partnering a Newman with an Abbott is always a risky move. During the week of September 29th, Tessa Porter and Daniel Romalotti Jr. might face some surprises at the hotel where Mariah Copeland's incident occurred. Mariah revealed to Tessa that she attempted to kill a man, and viewers witnessed a flashback of Mariah smothering a stranger with a pillow. Did that man actually survive? And if he did, what happened to him? Additionally, there's a chance that Tessa could get caught up in the moment with Daniel during this trip. Will they share a kiss, or perhaps something even more intense? Meanwhile, Sharon and Nick will need to act quickly for Noah's benefit. He'll find himself in some trouble in Los Angeles, prompting Nick and Sharon to join forces to rescue their son. An LA noir tale is set to unfold in October, particularly during the week of October 6 to mid-10, which might lead to significant events. Sienna Bacall could play a crucial part in ensnaring Noah by pretending to be the project developer he is meant to meet. Additionally, Roger Howarth's character will be involved alongside Detective Burrow, who is expected to assist Sharon and Nick in their investigation. Meanwhile, in Genoa City, Kane will face opposition from his adversaries, but complications may arise. The partnership between Victor and Jack is unlikely to proceed smoothly, potentially reigniting their rivalry as time progresses. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that Lily Winters might witness the intense connection between Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers. As this love triangle reaches its breaking point, the Y&R fall preview spoilers certainly refer to this as a triangle and emphasize Phyllis's fascination with Kane's Aristotle Dumas persona. Clearly, there's a part of Kane that is still attached to that former version of himself, and Phyllis's is always there to encourage him. Phyllis believes that Kane should abandon his hopes of rekindling his relationship with Lily and focus instead on his ambition for dominance in Genoa City. Naturally, Phyllis might also have her own interests in Kane, given the numerous compliments she showers upon him. The playful exchanges between Kane and Phyllis could easily be interpreted as mutual flirting, making it apparent how these two could potentially blend business with pleasure at some point. Recently, after Kane invited Phyllis to dinner at Society, they encountered Tracy Abbott while they were there. Kane once dreamed of transforming his friendship with Tracy into a romantic relationship, and their interactions were a warm reflection of that desire. Phyllis was clearly disturbed by the bond they shared and appeared somewhat envious of the attention Kane was giving Tracy. This only reinforces the idea that Phyllis wants Kane's attention solely on her, rather than on any other woman. Deep down, Phyllis might be hoping to emerge as the ultimate power couple with Kane. Perhaps once they achieve all their aspirations, Phyllis believes she can claim the title of the new Queen of Kane's heart, making him forget about Lily, Tracy, or anyone else. Regardless of the situation, Phyllis will keep enticing the Dumas side of Kane, and it's possible she might eventually seduce him. This could spell trouble if Lily catches Kane and Phyllis in a passionate moment. Even witnessing a kiss between them would be a significant blow for Lily, and discovering a more intimate encounter would undoubtedly escalate the situation. Phyllis has a talent for creating obstacles for Kane and Lily, so is she about to create another one? Y&R spoilers indicate that Phyllis will continue to stir the pot, so we'll keep you posted on any negative developments she may bring to Kane's reunion efforts with Lily.